When you look at a beehive, you probably just see a box buzzing with bees. But what if I told you it's not a box, it's actually a single, intelligent superorganism, a city of thousands all working with one mind for one purpose, the good of the colony. And this city, it has an incredible hidden weapon for staying alive. So let's dive in and uncover it. I mean, just look at this. We are talking about tens of thousands of individuals crammed into a really tight space. Now, that's great for getting work done, for efficiency, but it's also the absolute perfect breeding ground for disease. So here's the big question, right? In this super crowded city with no doctors, no medicine, not a single pharmacy in sight, how on earth does it protect its most fragile members when a killer disease shows up? Well, the answer is a mind-blowing piece of biological engineering. To solve this mystery, first, we've got to go to the most sensitive part of the hive, its very heart, and its entire future, the colony's nursery. This is what's known as the brood, sometimes called couvain in the research world. It's basically the catch-all term for the colony's babies. All the eggs, the larvae, the pupae. Protecting this nursery is priority number one, because, well, it's literally the next generation. And here's why they're so incredibly vulnerable. The brood needs a super stable, super precise temperature to develop the right way. And research shows that the sweet spot is right around 35 degrees Celsius. That's 95 Fahrenheit. If it gets even a little too hot or too cold, it can be a total disaster. And this is where things get really interesting. The brood is what scientists call stenothermic. It's a fancy way of saying they're extremely picky and can only survive in a very narrow temperature range, basically between 33 and 36 degrees Celsius. The adult bees, though, oh, they're tough. They're euthermic. They can handle all sorts of temperature swings. So you have this critical weakness. The most important part of the colony is also the most fragile. Okay, so how in the world do they keep that nursery at a perfect 35 degrees? They turn the entire hive into a living, breathing, and unbelievably precise thermostat. And when I say precise, I mean incredibly precise. Worker bees have these receptors on their antenna that can detect a temperature change as small as 1/4 degree Celsius. Just think about that. Your thermostat at home has got nothing on these bees. And their method is just brilliant in its simplicity. If the brood chamber gets a little too chilly, workers huddle together and vibrate their powerful flight muscles to generate heat. If it gets too hot, no problem. They spread out and start fanning their wings, acting like thousands of tiny air conditioners. It's a perfectly coordinated, living HVAC system. But this is where it goes from just being clever to absolutely genius. The bees don't just use this temperature control for comfort. Oh no, they weaponize it. They turn their collective body heat into a targeted weapon. So let me introduce you to the bad guy in our story. This is Ascosphaera apis, a really nasty fungus that causes a disease called chalk brood. It attacks the larvae, the most helpless stage of the brood, and basically mummifies them in this white, chalky shell. It is a devastating killer. And here is their secret weapon. When the colony detects a pathogen like chalk brood, the worker bees get a signal, and they deliberately raise the temperature inside the hive. They literally give the entire colony a social fever. This temperature spike is just enough to kill off the heat-sensitive fungus, but not so high that it harms their own precious brood. It's targeted medicine delivered by the community for the community. Now you might be thinking, how could we possibly know all this? Well, scientists use some pretty incredible tools, like the tiny little RFID tag you can see on this bee's back. It works just like the electronic toll pass in your car, letting researchers track thousands of individual bees and map out exactly how they pull off these complex, coordinated maneuvers. So this whole social fever thing, it's not just some neat trick. It has these massive ripple effects that are absolutely critical for the colony's long-term survival and success. See, protecting the brood is the key to everything else. A healthy brood means you get a bigger, stronger population. That, in turn, means the colony is better at surviving the winter, can handle environmental stress, and can gather way more honey and pollen. Defending the nursery is what ensures the survival of the entire superorganism. It's that simple. It's such a powerful lesson, isn't it? In a world that so often focuses on the individual, the beehive shows us the unbelievable power and resilience of the collective. It proves that a community, working as one, can literally create its own medicine, protect its most vulnerable, and turn a shared weakness into a collective strength. It really makes you stop and think, what else can these tiny superorganisms teach us?